What's up y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be doing an eyeshadow palette ranking. It's been a little while, they've been stacking up. I have 12 eyeshadow palettes sitting right here that I have tested. I have used every single shade in every single one of these palettes. One of these was quite an undertaking to use every single shade, but I managed, and I'm ready to give you my final thoughts, stack them up against each other, and let you know which ones are my absolute favorites. But before we jump into that, I wanted to let you know I did film this look. It will be up soon as a short here on YouTube and as a reel over on Instagram, and also I will link and list everything on my face and all of these palettes down in the description box. I put as much information down there as I can possibly squeeze into that tiny little box, so always check there if you're curious about anything. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this ranking. Alright y'all, so at number 12 we have this one from Color Rose. This is the lighter version of the Water Ripple series palettes that they came out with. I don't know the actual names of them, but we're just gonna go with like the lighter pink and green version. Now this is not a bad formula. The formula in here is good. These just aren't very pigmented. So if you watched my video, which was a little while ago at this point, reviewing this entire collection, these shades just didn't show up on my eye very well. So it's just not anything that I'm reaching for. They are very light. It's a good companion palette if I want to bring in some lightness to other palettes. Even its sister palette, it works really well with that. But as a whole, on its own, it's just not a favorite. The pigmentation's just not there. At number 11, we have the Colourpop Beauty and the Beast palette. I was so excited when this collection launched. This is one of my absolute favorite Disney movies of all time. I remember going to see this for my birthday when I was a little girl, and the packaging is beautiful. The color story in here is beautiful. The formula is great with the exception of this blue shadow right here. If you watched my video reviewing this collection, I had a really hard time with this, so hard that I had to take it off and start over. I have played with this blue since, and I can get it to work, but it's extremely finicky. I have to be very careful how I use it, what brushes I use. I have to do more of a packing motion. If I start to blend, it kind of gets everywhere, makes a muddy mess. I don't know if there's like an inconsistency with these palettes or if it's just me. Maybe it's the way that I do my makeup, my skin, my primer. I don't know. I did try it with other primers, but for that reason, I just couldn't rank this any higher. Now, I absolutely will reach for this palette, but I won't reach into this palette for this blue shade. I have other blues that work beautifully. I don't have to really work with them nearly as hard. So if you take that out, this just comes down to a very neutral palette, and I absolutely will reach into it for that because this shade right here, which is called Forbidden, is absolutely beautiful on the lid. The formula and the rest of these are absolutely beautiful, but like I said, because one shade didn't work, I had to be a little picky, and that's why this one's coming in at number 11. Coming in at number 10, we have the darker version of the Color Rose Water Ripple series eyeshadow palette. This one I liked a lot more than the other one. The formula is the same in both across the board, but this one is a little bit more pigmented. You can build it up a little bit more. This one also has more depth to it. So you have really light shades, you have some mid-tone shades, a darkening up shade. You only have 2 shimmers in here, but I'm okay with that. I put this one higher than Colourpop because every single shade in this palette works for me. I didn't have any duds. I didn't have anything that acted funky or did anything like that. Is this a favorite formula of mine? No. Generally, I like the Colourpop formula better, but like I said, every shade in this palette worked for me, so that's why this one's coming in at number 10. Alright, so number 9 might surprise you. This is the Adept Cosmetics Amy Loves Makeup eyeshadow palette. This is beautiful. The packaging is gorgeous. The color story in here is really beautiful as well. We do have a nice cool tone color story. The shimmers in here are absolutely beautiful. They are shifty. We have holochromes, multichromes, duochromes. They are so smooth on the lid. They perform exactly how I expect them to. Adept always kills it with their shimmers, but for me, my issue comes down to the mattes. Not only am I not a fan of the mattes that we got in this palette, which was part of the reason I almost skipped out on this, but the shimmers got me. These 3 shades right here look very, very similar on the eye. Once you put them on, blend them out, there's not that much of a difference to them. And this shade up here, which is called Mocha, I have a hard time with this one. It patches up on me. It doesn't blend out beautifully. It's just not a favorite. So this palette will absolutely become like a companion palette if I want a beautiful shimmer. That's what I will reach into this for. I will not use the mattes in this palette. It is beautiful. I do love it. I'm happy to have it, but if I can't use every single shade in the palette, it's gonna fall a little bit lower. But the shimmers in here are what put this where it put it. If the shimmers weren't as good as where they were, this probably would have been number 12. Number 8 is going to go to the Moira Loved by You palette. I was blown away by this little palette. First of all, this is like cheap plastic packaging. You get this at the drugstore. Here, like down in Texas, you can pick this up at H-E-B. I know they have a website. It is an affordable drugstore brand, but the formula in here is absolutely beautiful. I was blown away by how pigmented these mattes were. They blended, they didn't patch, they didn't skip, I didn't have any fallout. They lasted all day. I didn't get any creasing. This is a very matte heavy palette. We do have 2 shimmers in here, which are absolutely beautiful on the eye, but I'm not mad about that. I prefer to have more matte options in a palette than shimmers because I want to use all the shimmers. And if you give me a ton of them, it's just going to put me on overload and like short circuit me, and I'm not going to know what to do. But this formula is beautiful. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to try more from this brand and maybe even pick up more eyeshadows from them in the future. All right, number 7, we have this big guy right here. This is the Blend Bunny Ellis Atlantis eyeshadow palette. This thing is massive. It is so big, it's heavy, it is monstrous. This took me forever to use every single shade in this palette, but I managed to. I tested them all out, and as far as formula goes, this is the beautiful Blend Bunny formula that we know and love. It's absolutely stunning. It's pigmented. They build up, they blend, they're beautiful, they last all day. You're not going to be disappointed. The shimmers in here are beautiful as well. They are all very like ethereal, not quite topper, a little bit more, but you can shift them depending on if you put them over just like your normal lid, if you put them over a different color, things like that. They are beautiful. I love the versatility with this. The reason that I'm putting this at number 7, the reason I'm putting this at number 7 is because 1, it's massive, and 2, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, I feel like there's not a lot of thought that went into this. It's a collab, and when you do a collab, I feel like that gives you the opportunity to take what you love in makeup and really kind of make it your own. And I understand where Ellis Atlantis is coming from, but to me, this is kind of like taking one of each shade and throwing it in a palette with a row of shimmers and calling it a day. So I didn't really see a whole lot of innovation in this. If you have a rainbow palette, I don't know if you necessarily need this. If you are somebody who does a lot of stage makeup, maybe you are a drag queen, or maybe you do like you're a makeup artist, this is going to be great. You can get everything you need out of these, but for the everyday average consumer, I think this is just a bit much. It's a bit overwhelming, and I kind of had a hard time putting this somewhere in this ranking because it is a beautiful formula, it is a beautiful palette, it's just a bit much. Coming in at number 6, we have the Lethal Cosmetics Mellow Grove palette. This is absolutely beautiful. I love the packaging on here. I love that we have this rose gold like detail around here, and the color story in here is absolutely beautiful. I love it. The formula is stunning. The mattes are beautiful. The shimmers are beautiful. I wanted more variety, I think is my issue. Like once I really got into it, I noticed there's only like so many looks that I can do, and I had to get really picky with this. All of these palettes from here forward are absolutely beautiful. The formula is beautiful. I recommend them. I would never get rid of them. I will absolutely keep using them. But like I said, I had to get a little bit picky, and for me, the color story in here, there's just not enough variety to do a whole lot of different looks. I noticed once I really got into this, I was getting a lot of looks that look the same unless I changed up the shimmer, things like that. But it is a beautiful palette. I do absolutely love it. I just love the ones ahead of it a little bit more. And coming in at number 5 is the Fantasy Cosmetica Cradled in Ice palette. This is beautiful. I love the packaging. They always kill it with the packaging, but I love that we got something a little bit different from the brand. We got a bigger palette. We kind of stepped away from the characters and moved more towards world building, creatures, things like that. But this color story is beautiful. I love that you basically have like 2 different 6-pan palettes. The shimmers in here are beautiful. The matte formula is absolutely beautiful. The blues in here, I think I said this in my review, I like these better than the one in the Wizard palette. That was a good one, but I like these better. I love that we have some cool tones in here. This shade down here is like a very purpled brown, absolutely beautiful. The shimmers in here are stunning. They are absolutely beautiful. They're shifty, they're smooth, they last all day, they don't accentuate texture on the lid. And this palette really sparked a lot of excitement for me with the brand. I feel like we kind of fell into like this lull of another 9-pan palette, another 9-pan palette. What character are they gonna do? What color story are they gonna do? And then they came out with this and it was like, oh wait, we're changing it up a little bit. What else do they have in the future? So I love this palette. I'm so happy to have it. I love the brand, and I think this is probably one of my favorites from them. Okay, so number 4 isn't really a palette, but I didn't know where else to put this. I didn't know how else to review it for you. So I kind of reach in for it like a palette, so that's where we're gonna put it. But it is going to be these quads from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. These came out, I want to say, either like end of April, early May, something like that. These are so gorgeous. I have a video with this one. I have shorts with each of these. I love these so much. I love the looks that I get with them. I love smaller palettes. I love quads, things like that, because I feel like they're just no-brainer looks. Like you can just go into this and it's like, okay, put that down, pick a shimmer, pick both shimmers, whatever you want to do. They're quick, they're easy. There's days that, yes, I want to play with color, but I don't want to open up a big palette and really have to think about it. And that's what these are great for. I love that. I love the formula. Glaminatrix has really jumped up to be one of my favorite indie brands. I have really fallen in love with their formula. I feel like I didn't really appreciate it as much as I did until they came out with the pastel palette. That one's absolutely gorgeous, but then these quads right here really stole my heart as far as the formula goes. It is absolutely gorgeous. It makes me excited for the brand, and I love these little quads. In the number 3 spot, we have the Unearthly Cosmetics Spring Magic Palette. If you've been here, if you've watched my videos, my eyeshadow palette videos, you know that the Fall Magic Palette from Unearthly is one of my absolute favorites, probably of all time. It's definitely my favorite from the brand. So when they announced they were doing a spring magic palette, I was so excited, and this does not disappoint. The packaging is beautiful. The color story in here is absolutely stunning. It is so beautiful. I love it. I love the color story. I love the mattes. I love the shimmers. Everything about this palette is gorgeous. This palette and the next two, they could change at any moment. They are equals in my eyes. I had a really hard time ranking them. They kind of went back and forth several times, but this is where they landed. I love this palette. It's beautiful. I do really love Unearthly. I love their unique color stories, and I feel like this one is very unique. It's very true to the name. This is a very spring color story, but it can definitely take you into summer. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for what else they have coming up, and I feel like they just get better and better with every single eyeshadow that they release. And coming in at number 2 is the Bella Beauty Bar Secret Garden palette. This one is so beautiful. If you don't like pinks and greens, you are not going to like this palette, but it's gorgeous. It is very well curated. We don't have any overlap with the colors. We've got some grungy shades, we've got some bright shades, a couple pops of neons in here, and I love that this top row up here is neutral. So you can absolutely do a very neutral, simple look with your mattes, and then throw a pop of color in on the lower lash line, the inner corner with your shimmer, whatever you want to do. The shimmers in here are absolutely gorgeous. They always are in a Bella Beauty Bar palette. They are always shifty. They have different textures, different formulas, things like that. But the matte formula is what really sets Bella Beauty Bar apart from other brands. It is by far one of the best formulas on the indie market, on the market in general, in my opinion. I love them. They are pigmented, but they're buildable, they're blendable, you don't get any fallout, they last all day, they don't crease. It's a beautiful formula. Whatever they did whenever they switched it last year from their old formula to their new formula, absolute perfection. I'm excited to play with this palette. I love that I have it in my collection, and as always, I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us in the future. And coming in at number 1 is the palette that I am actually wearing on my eyes today, and that is the Jolie Beauty Till Death palette. I love this. It is a bigger palette and it is on the neutral side, but to me, this is like a neutral palette for the colorful lover or the colorful palette for the neutral lover. As much as I love colorful makeup, there's something about a neutral that just kind of grounds me. It makes me feel good, makes me feel confident. And this has those shades in it that I reach for when I want a more neutral look. I've got my greens, I've got my grays, I've got my browns and golds over here. And then I have these 2 rows in the middle of like plums and mauves. This is the perfect neutral palette for me. It's bigger, yes, but we don't have any color overlap. We have a lot of different formulas in here. We've got mattes, we've got satins, we've got like metallic shimmers, we've got sparkly shimmers. We even have this absolutely beautiful duochrome right here, which is the one that I am wearing on my eyes today. It is so smooth, very like ethereal on the eyes. I absolutely love it. And the one thing that I really love about this palette that really makes me excited, there's no pressed glitters in here. If you have any other palettes from Jolie Beauty, if you followed them, watch the brand, they love to do a pressed glitter, and this one doesn't have any, and it makes me so happy. But I love the theming, I love the color story. I know it's basic, I know it can be boring to some of you, but for me, I absolutely love this one, and it's my eyeshadow palette ranking. So this one is going to come in at number 1. I love it, and I just want to play with it over and over and over. Alright y'all, so that is going to complete this eyeshadow palette ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts. How would you have ranked these? What are some of your favorite palettes that you've tried recently? I had a really hard time ranking the top 3 of these palettes. Like I said, they kind of jumbled and intertwined. The top 3 are all number 1, but I do really love these. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear all of your thoughts. Let's have that conversation down below. Light up that comment section, and as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It really does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.